Hello everybody and welcome to the Wake Up Report. And Star Wars The Last Jedi made its official debut on Friday. I went to check it out on Saturday, eagerly awaiting the follow-up to The Force Awakens, which I liked tremendously. A lot of people didn't like it, but one of the best cliffhangers ever in a movie where Rey brings Luke's lightsaber back to him, and we know that she is going to now be trained by Luke Skywalker to take on Kylo Ren. And the First Order, was The Last Jedi going to meet or exceed its predecessor and continue on with the Star Wars saga? I wanted to like it, I really did, but I did not care for it too much, man. It was not as good as The Force Awakens, and this go around was just a little bit of a muddled mess as far as I was concerned. So I'm going to talk about the movie. So if you don't want to know anything about the movie, if you don't, if what you think I'm going to give are spoilers, don't listen to the show. But I'm going to tell you, you ain't missing nothing if you don't go see The Last Jedi, man. I was very disappointed. So hey, let's get to talking about the movie. First off, it would have been nice to have Rey and Luke Skywalker in the movie. What should have been this series, The Empire Strikes Back. All the things that made The Empire Strikes Back the best of all of the Star Wars movies, even the Revenge of the Sith. The darker tone, for some reason, with Star Wars seems to work better. This one just failed to deliver anything that was promised with that cliffhanger from The Force Awakens. I was expecting Rey to be trained by Luke. I was expecting more interaction between Luke and Rey. I was expecting more of a backstory, and you got none of that, man. Luke Skywalker was so sparse in this movie, and that's really what was disappointing, man. I was really expecting to see kind of Luke interact with Rey the way Yoda interacted with Luke in The Empire Strikes Back, and basically that's what you're making. You're making The Empire Strikes Back for a different audience. This was supposed to be Luke, Rey, Kylo Ren, and the interaction between those three characters, and instead what we got was more of a focus on a backstory that really didn't matter, as opposed to the main story, which was finding Luke Skywalker training Rey, and Rey confronting Kylo Ren, and with what I was hoping was going to be like just a knockdown, drag-out battle that improved on the first fight between the two. None of it. You got none of it. I mean, you got a real good fight sequence with Rey and Kylo Ren teaming up, but the meat of Kylo Ren, just the struggle between the light and the dark side, he did a fantastic job. So Adam Driver's Kylo Ren, he actually built more on his character in terms of conflict, in terms of anguish, in terms of where was this character going to wind up in terms of his relationship with Rey, what he wanted to accomplish. And it just wasn't matched with Rey's development. It just seemed like what we should have spent watching as far as her training, developing the Force, basically all we got was her slicing a rock with a lightsaber. Okay, you're trained. That's it. We got some of Luke's philosophy about the Force and teaching her how to find the Force in living things, and but it was just unsatisfying. It just wasn't what I thought it was going to be, man. I was really looking forward to just a grittier, more just, I don't know, down to earth, but just gritty. I wanted a gritty movie, which you got with Rogue One. Rogue One was grittier. It was, it was just conflict. It was all the things that I like about Star Wars movies. And Rogue One was better. Rogue One was actually better than The Last Jedi, and that is saying a lot. Now the movie clocks in at about 2 hours and 30 minutes. Easily, you could have shaved 30 minutes. There's just this one sequence in the movie that It was just bad as far as I'm concerned. It, you know, once they got to this casino type island, and it just totally knocked the movie out of its pacing. It was almost like all of a sudden now we're in the future. This was the same problem with episodes 1, 2, and 3 that were supposed to be older than episodes 4, 5, and 6, but they look newer. It was like it was more in the future. And this whole casino sequence, it was almost as if they borrowed a page from George Lucas's episode 1, 2, and 3 book. You know, let's make a crappy sequence in the movie that's just nothing but bad CG characters and just a bad idea. So it just did not lend itself well to what The Last Jedi was supposed to be about. The movie was about everything except being The Last Jedi. Laura Dern's character in the movie did not fit. She looked out of place. She looked awkward. She looked like maybe a character from The Fifth Element or something like that, but nothing that should have appeared in a Star Wars movie. Benicio del Toro, the same thing. I don't understand why they cast these like high-profile powerhouse actors, but then they give them so little to do, or the characters are just so minimal that why even be in the movie? It was the same thing with Lupita. You know, I was all excited when they said Lupita was going to be in The Force Awakens, but then you find out she's just a CG character, you know, and I wanted to see her. The movie does hit its marks in some places. So, when you get to certain places where now you feel like you're in a Star Wars movie, but then it just slides right back into something that's just like so minimal, or something that doesn't have really anything to do with the actual storyline, that you just kind of, now you're just kind of sitting and you're just kind of waiting. One too many space battles. It was just kind of like space battle, some talking, space battle, some more talking, then we'll see Luke, then we'll see Rey, back to a space battle, some more talking, then we'll go over here, then we'll go over there, and all this while we're not really going anywhere in terms of the actual storyline. What J.J. Abrams did with The Force Awakens was he captured the essence of what Star Wars was in terms of what you responded to when you saw Star Wars, you know. So it was like swashbuckling, romance, action, and great characters. He did a great job in paying homage to the past, because for fans that grew up with the first 3 movies, you got to see a lot of the things from the Star Wars you grew up on. But he also developed characters, because you got to move on with a different set of characters so you can continue the storyline. You know, I still didn't like them killing Han Solo, man. I just thought that was a big mistake. But it was a bold decision to do something like that. And The Last Jedi is just, it's not bold. It's not bold. It didn't break anything new. It didn't build on the past. Again, I'll go back to, if you guys were sitting down, the only goal that should have been with The Last Jedi was, we are making this generation's The Empire Strikes Back. That's, to me, what everybody wanted to see. Failed miserably in doing that. So me personally, I think J.J. Abrams should have done all 3 movies. He should not have walked away after The Force Awakens. There is talk that he will be back. So I think it would have been a better idea for him to just take all 3 of them, so they were all consistent, so they all had the same tone, they all had the same kind of a feel, and we would have got a much better episode 7, 8, and 9. And now we're going to go with what I know people are thinking. It's just that nobody wants to say it. But the oversaturation of women in these Star Wars movies has been so blatant that this forced, I understand, but you can over diversify and you can over make your point about, women can do it too, and women can fight like the guys and all that kind of stuff. And it really felt like I was being force fed the fact that women can fight and women can fly and women can use lightsabers and women can do this and women can do that. Princess Leia was a strong character who happened to be female, but she fit. She was right for what they were doing. Rey is right for what they were doing. We don't have to focus on the guys all the time. It's not like girls can't have the Force or anything like that. But the character was created and the character made sense within the context of the story. But all of these other women in the movie, man, it's like every time you turn around, it's like you're just overstating your point about women. So women being in the movies or a part of the Star Wars universe or something like that. So it really seems like these movies have been geared more towards women or young girls. So I guess, you know, I guess you could say with episodes, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, that was the guys. So now we have to have the girls, you know, but it just, there was something about it that was just fake and it just wasn't genuine. And, you know, we've had enough of that. So when we get around to episode 9, could we just do away with all of that stuff? And I mean, you know, in this one, you got rid of one of your great female stormtrooper characters. So the rest of them are really irrelevant as far as what they represent. I get the message. I got it in the Force Awakens about women in the movies. I don't need to have it force-fed down my throat all of the time. Luke Skywalker was a total waste of time. No focus on the 3 main characters for this story, which should have been Luke, Rey, and Kylo Ren. A scene involving Princess Leia being sucked out into space made absolutely no sense whatsoever. I will say that if you are a diehard Star Wars fan, chances are you are not going to like Last Jedi. With this one, clearly after about the hour and a half, you know, 2-hour mark, you either start checking your watch or you start getting a little restless. You know, again, could have shaved half hour off of the movie for a much better movie. Could have eliminated some scenes altogether. And the focus just should have been more on Rey and Kylo Ren, and it wasn't. Bring J.J. Abrams back, because the Force definitely was not with The Last Jedi. This is KTM and the Wake Up Report saying think a little bit. It will do wonders for you.